Oh, it's Bradley and Wyatt back with you for Man versus Machine. It's Wednesday night. It's 9 o'clock Eastern. You know where you're going to get the fantasy goodness to crush all of your leagues. Man versus Machine. Wyatt, Bradley, bringing you the goodness. We've got the Sounders in. This one's for Wyatt. Shout out Wyatt.
The man. I'm the machine.
And yes, we've got the Sounders. We've got 2 weeks of NFL football in the bag. We've got some Brees Hall questions in the chat already. We're making it happen, Wyatt. It's exciting because now we have 2 weeks of data. It's not just one. It's not that we get 1 point of data. We can't extrapolate anything, but 2 points make a line. That's right. So we're going to determine, should we panic for some of our underperformers, or should we have some patience with their role and their offense? Was it just not a good first couple weeks? So Wyatt and I are going to go through a couple players, and by a couple I mean we've got 5 each, so 10 total players that we're going to determine whether they are worth pursuing, waiting, having some patience, or should we just straight hot potato? They're droppable. They are. There's no hope in the foreseeable future. There's a very thin pathway for them to be successful in your fantasy lineup or even in your fantasy roster. You can bench them. Are they even bench worthy in some scenarios? Wyatt, can you kick us off with your first player that we should either panic about or have some patience on?
Yeah, this one's going to be Mark Andrews. For me, it is panic. 2 games, 4 targets, 2 catches, 7 yards. He has less receptions on the season than Emeka Egbuka has touchdowns on the season. He has as many receiving yards as Zay Flowers has had catches in each game this season. It's bad for Mark Andrews. He's still playing almost 80% of the snaps, so he's out there. He's just not really part of the plans. He did have a touchdown punched out this past week. If he catches that touchdown, do you feel that differently about where he is at this point? Because, yeah, like, would he have had an okay day at tight end because he got a touchdown? Yeah, but he still would have only had 3 targets and 2 receptions, on the day. Not great. So I'm at the point where, like, I think you better have other plans than Mark Andrews. Maybe it comes back around a little bit, just like last year, where eventually he kind of just gets on a run where he catches some touchdowns and he's getting there because of touchdowns. But I'm not trying to rely on that at this point. I don't want to count on him having another, outlier touchdown percentage season. I'd be looking elsewhere, especially because, like, we've already found late round hits at tight end. Now they're Harold Fannin, Juwan Johnson, probably not on waivers anymore. But if that's the case, I imagine that also means that another tight end has now moved on to other things. Like, I'm looking for other options, basically.
I've dropped Mark Andrews in my 10-team redraft league. In favor of Harold Fannin. I also have Zach Ertz, who is I was bidding heavily on. I think those are 2 options over Mark Andrews. And the context too, Wyatt, is Isaiah Likely is out. Like, he didn't play.
Yeah.
This is this was prime opportunity for Mark Andrews to get not just the snaps, because he's getting snaps, to get the targets that we had seen Mark Andrews from a few years ago get. He was a 20 to 25% target share type of guy week in, week out. And then even when Zay Flowers was in there, Zay Flowers' first year, Mark Andrews was still a 20+% target guy. So far in the season, 8.5%. That's not going to get it done for fantasy. And he would need a string of probably 2 games in a row. But by that time, Isaiah Likely's back, we anticipate. So Mark Andrews, I'm seeing eye to eye with you on the panic button for Mark Andrews.
Yeah. What do you got?
Ooh, yeah. Well, Wyatt, I'm pulling it up here, and it's just I'm gonna stick it in the tight end room. TJ Hockenson. TJ Hockenson, also a historically 20 to 22% target share guy. We know he was a former first round pick in Detroit, gets traded. He has 7 targets on the season. Jordan Addison is out. One of the concerns that I have, though, and this is why I have the panic button for TJ Hockenson as well, is that the Vikings have moved to a more run-heavy offense. The volume that was there in previous years under Kevin O'Connell has at least not shown up over the first couple weeks. And so averaging 3.5 targets a game, averaging 13.5 receiving yards a game, as a tight end 44 on the season, like we thought this was the prime rollout for TJ Hockenson. He'll start strong. There's no competition outside of Justin Jefferson because Jordan Addison's not there. We thought J.J. McCarthy would be able to get some volume, and McCarthy, I think the issue is mostly due to the offensive line. And when you have a young quarterback with a non-trustworthy offensive line, he's going to make mistakes and he's going to play skittish because he hasn't been hit by NFL defensive tackles. I'd be afraid too, right? Until you get hit consistently. And that's the thing with JJ McCarthy. He missed all of last year. He got some workout in the off season, but it's clear that Kevin O'Connell wanted to slow play things. And now you've got Carson Wentz, who maybe there's an uptick in confidence in Carson Wentz getting the ball to his tight ends. We've seen Wentz hit up Ertz and Goddard previously when he was on Philly, but I still am panicking for TJ Hockenson. The Minnesota Vikings are going to continue that game plan of less pass attempts, even when JJ McCarthy comes back from this high ankle sprain.
I'm right on the edge of panic and patience for Hockenson, because I want to practice some patience because I don't know if it's him, but I think it's mostly like situational factors because it's JJ McCarthy not quite being where we want him to be. The fact that they're more run heavy. I mean, like TJ Hockenson still has a 17% target share, which is like not bad, but not where we want it to be, especially with Jordan Addison not there. So like, obviously there's a little bit on him maybe where we can say like, okay, maybe he's losing a little bit of a step, but I really do think it's more situational currently, which is why I'm not full on panic. The problem is like, we're thinking rest of the season, is it going to get better? I don't know. I
don't see a pathway. I don't see a pathway for it to get better with Addison coming back.
I mean, Addison's coming back. Wentz might bring some stability to this offense, surprisingly. But like I think like the Kevin O'Connell offense, for any quarterback who's just like been in the league and can like do all the procedural stuff of being a quarterback, like just running the offense, getting the play in and knowing where people are supposed to be and what the protection is, all that simple stuff that we don't even think about that like QBs have to do in a second when they step up to the line, stuff like that. I think any QB like that can have success in the Kevin O'Connell offense just because it's such a good offense. Even for Wentz, who's like erratic and is going to make some boneheaded plays. Like I'm sure he's going to have plenty of plays that remind us of who Carson Wentz was for Kevin O'Connell. So maybe that helps things a little bit, but we also expect JJ McCarthy to come back at some point. And will he be better? Because it's been rough. It's been real bad. I think McCarthy can get there. I thought as a prospect, he had the tools that he needed coming into the NFL. I think watching JJ McCarthy play, I see a quarterback who probably needs a lot of reps and actual game time, game speed, because he everything's a rocket. It's almost like he's jittery or something like out there right now. He just kind of needs to settle down. Yeah,
well, he's going to settle down for 2 to 4 weeks at least with his high ankle sprain, so maybe that'll calm him down. But the offensive line issues, I think, are going to persist for a while for the Vikings, and until they figure that out. Like missing Darisaw, I think, is a major issue for them. So we'll see, whether there's more optimism and stability with Wentz there. I would still opt for the panic button for TJ Hockenson. I think I'd rather have Zach Ertz. I'd rather have Harold Fannin too. But Hockenson over Mark Andrews, I think, is how I would have the rankings as well.
Yeah. Like I'm not full on. You have to find a way to bench TJ Hockenson, although I think you should. Like if you have an option to do so. Mark Andrews, I'm like, I'm not putting in my lineup right now. I can't do it. I'll find a way to not have him in my lineup for now.
Life finds a way. All right, Wyatt, give us your next panic or patience player.
Brian Thomas Jr., and we're going to show a little bit of patience here.
Mm.
With the understanding that we might not get first, second round turn draft pick value that was, that he costed coming into the season. But I still think that he could be a player that we're still excited about rest of the season. He's still getting a target share that we can get excited about. There's just like lost connection right now between him and Trevor Lawrence. This week was especially bad. Everyone's seen all the videos of him not fully reaching out for passes across the middle of the field, a little bit of alligator arms going on. Liam Cohen did say something about him dealing with a little bit of something, a wrist injury, but he wasn't on the injury report, which is odd. But I would guess that this gets figured out, mostly because I think Brian Thomas is talented. I think Trevor Lawrence is hit or miss, but like good enough to help a wide receiver score. And I think Liam Cohen will help this get figured out. So I'm practicing patience with Brian Thomas. He's still going to be in my starting lineup if I have him, because that target volume is still there. But maybe not the full-on, second year superstar breakout that we thought was going to happen.
Yeah, it's not happened yet. Brian Thomas, 27% target share, nothing to scoff at, but definitely a lot of meat left on the bone. He's number 1 in unrealized air yards on the season. So, look, Wyatt, it's not looked good. He's number 6 in air yard share. So at least they're giving shots to him. They're giving him chances, but he's number 3 among receivers in drops. Drops are not one of those sticky things. We know that if we've been playing this game long enough that we're not worried about that, but a deep target share of 66.7%. That's number 6 among wide receivers. He is running these deep routes, and he has a better target share than Travis Hunter, who's at 20% on the season. Still Brian Thomas over Travis Hunter. I agree with you. He is a patience play. The metrics are still there, indicating that there's chances for Brian Thomas to have just massive week winning weeks moving forward. So I agree with you. It is patience time with Brian Thomas. All right. Well, when we come back, Wyatt and I are going to chat about a couple rookie running backs that have left us almost for dead. We might be 0-2 because we drafted these rookie running backs, but Wyatt and I are going to dive into whether we should panic or have some patience right after this.
I know your sad draft season is over, but just because the NFL season starts doesn't mean the drafting stops, because Fast Draft has the Flex 6 Frenzy. You're drafting 6 guys for the Sunday slate against 9 other competitors. It's fast, it's furious, it's fun, and as with everything on Fast Draft, there are no salaries. Woo! So go to draftfaster.com, get the app, use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
That's right. Draft faster on Fast Draft. Wyatt and Bradley back with you on Man versus Machine. This week, for week 3, we're prepping panic or patience. And we're going to dive into some rookie running backs. Wyatt and I previously discussed tight ends, Mark Andrews, TJ Hockenson, and also sophomore wide receiver Brian Thomas. But we're going to kind of clump these rookies together. They've let us down in a sense. Wyatt, Amari and Hampton will lead off that grouping. There's a lot of Amari and Hampton love. He was becoming a 2-3 turn type of guy. A lot of people were clicking him in the mid-20s even. His player profiler comp, Jonathan Taylor, but he's currently the running back 47 in fantasy points per game. He's averaging 11.5 rush attempts per game and 36 rushing yards per game, 3.1 yards per carry. I'm going to have some patience with Amari and Hampton. I'm going to have some patience. I'm okay. This is the first 2 weeks. Najee Harris is still involved in this offense. I know that we've been disappointed, but Harbaugh's Chargers have been the pass heaviest team in the NFL. This is outside the norm for what Herbert and Harbaugh have done over the last, entire season. So when you see Omari and Hampton only getting 11, 12 attempts or so per game, I think that goes up. I think there's increased confidence in what a rookie can do as the season goes on. And he just hasn't fallen in the end zone either. Like, there's just not been as many of those chances. So is it a little discouraging that his yards per carry is 3.1? Yes. But I don't have the worry that he's going to stick at 47. You throw a touchdown or two in there, and we're looking at a back end running back too. So it's really just hurt that he's not fallen in the end zone. And Justin Herbert is throwing tons of touchdowns to Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen and the like. So I will be willing to be patient with Omari and Hampton, given all the data that we have on Harbaugh. And I think this is just what's happened the first two games.
This is going to be similar to like the patience I was saying for Brian Thomas Jr., where I'm practicing some patience, but I also understand he might not quite finish where we drafted him, but like, I don't think it's going to be necessarily that much lower than that. Like the role is fine, because they're passing so much more and they're passing so much more to their wide receivers that the role is just okay, not as great as we'd like it to be. But the offensive line has just not blocked for him. According to Player Profiler, great place. You should check it out if you haven't already. Run blocking rating, he's 52nd among running backs. The offensive line is just not doing the job for him to really help him out. And he's a running back who kind of needs it because while he's very athletic and big, he's not good side to side. His lateral agility is a little bit lacking. He's kind of a running back who needs, like, he's a point and shoot, like, there's the whole, like, run right at and hit it as hard as he can, and he can use his size and his speed to bowl people over, and he just hasn't really been able to do that. Hopefully that gets better. I mean, I think it's a solid offensive line in general, so like I would expect it to be better. So yeah, I'm not panicking yet. I just understand that my expectations are a little bit lower than they were coming into the season.
Yeah. It was really hard right when he was drafted and we knew Najee Harris was on the team. My projections were very conservative for Omari and Hampton. And then over the summer, we heard July 4th, the Najee Harris eye injury became like a mystery, a major mystery. And so it was understandable that people were hyping up Omari and Hampton, pumping him up. There was a lot of narrative surrounding this Chargers backfield of, well, is Najee Harris even going to be on the team? Like there were conversations in the X sphere of whether there was contract language for the Chargers to get out of it. And so you can understand why he was hyped so much given the questions of Najee Harris, but the opportunity is, as you said, it's fine now. But this is kind of, maybe the efficiency is lacking, but this was kind of the role we expected if Najee Harris was going to be as involved as he has been. And he hasn't been as involved as like a 50-50 split, but it has been more pronounced given that the Chargers are throwing more. So there's just fewer rush attempts. And so the smaller sample size, I think, sticks out. Omari and Hampton, I'm still being patient with. But your boy Travion Henderson hits this list, Wyatt. Talk to us about whether you are being patient with Travion or are you panicking a little bit?
I'm definitely being patient with Travion Henderson. I understand that this past week was not great. I mean, week one was not quite where we wanted to be, but he was getting the targets for us to be like, okay, yeah, this is fine. Like he's doing what we thought he might do, that he's a big part of the pass game and the carries are going to come. And the second week, he didn't get as many targets, and Ramondre Stevenson did and looked good with them. Understand that in the game, he had 3 separate holding penalties called on him in pass protection, which is supposed to be his calling card coming into the NFL, or one of his calling cards. That's obviously a problem. It also came out that the wheel route that Ramondre Stevenson had, his big gain in the passing game, was actually supposed to be a play for Travion Henderson, but he wasn't out there because of this happening. So obviously not ideal. Like this, Josh McDaniel said this. So like, this isn't conjecture. This is a real thing that we know. Obviously that's not ideal. it's nice to know that play is supposed to be for Trevion Henderson. But I also think he just took his rookie lumps in this game. And I still expect him to come back around because he's a really talented player. And like him making mistakes like that in pass protection is not like him. I would not expect them to happen again. So, yeah, right now, you probably cannot be starting Trevion Henderson like we thought maybe you might be able to in some PPR leagues and whatnot to start the season. But I do expect it to come around. I still think he's an extremely talented player. And I expect that to push through at some point.
Yeah, for me, it's J.K. Dobbins over Trevion Henderson for week 3. But, you know, I hear you. Like the when a coach can't trust you to do the things that he thought he could trust you to do, that means fewer snaps. And that's what we saw in week 2 was he actually was down snap share. He was at 35% in week 1 and down to 33 in week 2. And that's not the trend that you want to see when you've got an ascending talent like Trevion Henderson. Fewer touches, fewer snaps, fewer fantasy points, and he's going to be in fewer lineups in week 3, and rightly so. I think we need to see Trevion have a bigger role, honestly, and until he can start to be like, we need to see 2 weeks of like flex level production for him to get in my lineup for redraft. So, and Ramondre looking good, like. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it happened.
It happens. Before we get to my next player, Wyatt, we've got some questions in the chat. Sometimes we like to do this. We like to answer some questions. We appreciate y'all's patience. Panic or patience. Don't panic. We'll get to your questions. We're the E Smitty asks, should I trade Nico for Tet and Javante?
So when I first saw this, my initial instinct was Nico because he's the elite player here. And normally in redraft leagues, it's kind of how you do is almost like always just kind of determined as like who got the elite players. And that kind of sold it for me. But the more I thought about it, if you're a team where you need to find a way to find a running back for your team, I could understand doing this tier down to Tet because I mean Tet's the one that I'm very excited for.
Sure.
I think the only thing holding him back at this point is Bryce Young to an extent, but like he's still producing with Young.
Right.
And Javante looks a little bit rejuvenated. I have to, eat some crow on that one because I was fading Javante completely. But week 1, he did not look that great. Managed to fall in the end zone a couple times. Week 2, he was looking a little bit better. The long touchdown run he had was like vintage Javante, I thought. So if you need to find a way to get some running back points on your team, I'm cool with this trade down. If you're just like saying in a vacuum, I'd pick Nico.
Yeah, it's clearly that Javante Williams is like the running back 1 on Dallas by far. Like they've sprinkled in Miles Sanders, but the Phil Maffa, Jaden Blue truthers have suddenly gone very, very silent with Javante Williams 3 touchdowns so far on the season. If you need a running back, like this is a running back to target. He's going to be a running back 2 for volume every week with, as we saw, like top 5 weekly upside, given the shootouts that Dallas is going to get into. So yeah, if you need that running back, I'm okay as well with that tier down trade. Chef LNN Abi. I don't know. Sometimes these names, I don't. Just Chef. How's it going, Chef? Thanks for tuning in. Smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, share it out if you like it. If you don't like it, share it with your enemies. Should I trade Henry? I'm assuming Derrick Henry and Drake London for Jamar Chase and Devon Achane. Now remember, Browning is expected to be the quarterback for the next however many starts. He was the backup for Burrow way back a couple years ago when Burrow missed significant time and played admirably. He's an NFL caliber backup quarterback who can step up in a pinch, and we saw him hyper target Jamar Chase. So are we confident though that he's going to be able to sustain that? We're trading Henry in London for Jamar Chase and Devon Achane. Give me the Derrick Henry, Drake London side.
Ooh. See, I was actually leaning Jamar Chase, Devin Chan a little bit. Chan and Henry, I think, same tier of player. And you can argue Chase and London are now same tier of player with Jake Browning. But boy, I mean, I pulled up Jamar Chase's game log from 2023 when Jake Browning was starting the second half of the season. It's inconsistent, but there's some big games on there. So like there's 11 for 1 or 12 for 11, 149-1 against Jacksonville in 2023 with Jake Browning. Jake Browning played.
Was that an Urban Meyer
What's
year?
funny is another Jacksonville game in which Jamar Chase crushes against Jacksonville with Jake Browning. So maybe as long as they're playing Jacksonville, it's fine. But that's 2 years ago. Jake Browning, another couple years in the NFL, possibly has improved a little bit. It's pretty close. I couldn't fall either way. I lean Jamar Chase, Stefon Chan just a little bit.
The reason why Henry and London is organizational confidence. Are we sure that the Bengals are going to be able to sustain consistency with Browning? I don't think the answer is yes. You mentioned that. Sure. The other issue is that Miami looks terrible. Like the plug could be pulled in the next couple of weeks with how bad Miami is looking. And
yeah, my only concern for a Chan would be if Tua isn't playing, because as long as Tua is playing, he's going to check it down to a Chan a bunch because, well, his arm is gone. I don't know if you saw Tyreek Hill stop and come back for a deep pass, but it's even worse than it was before. But a Chan's got, he's got 11 receptions for 2 games. Like he'll get there just as a pass catcher as long as Tua is starting.
The organizational confidence on the flip side is in Baltimore. Okay, we need to give Derrick Henry the pass for week 2. The Browns run defense is going to be impenetrable.
Might be pretty good.
They're
good.
Outstanding. I mean, they held the Bengals to 6 total yards in the second half or something like that.
7,
week
yes.
1. 7. Oh, how dare I miss one? 7 total yards in the second half of week 1, and they held Derrick Henry to 2 yards a carry and 23 total yards. Like, that's the Browns defense. For what it's worth, Josh Jacobs gets the Browns in week 3, so we know who we're fading. Right? That's the reality. The poor Packers are, facing the buzzsaw defense that is the Cleveland Browns. But I think that was just a 1 week off, for Derrick Henry. We saw in week 1 that he can just continue to break free and break loose, and he looks like a whole other person. And Atlanta, even if Penix is inconsistent, London is clearly the first read for Penix. So I think I have more organizational confidence with those teams than I do with Cincinnati and Miami.
Sure.
Okay. Real quick, do you think I should trade DK Metcalf and Tyler Warren? I was like, wait a minute. All right. This is the fun about reading the comments. Shout out to the comments, people. We be wrestling. DK Metcalf, Tyler Warren, and Zach Charbonnet for Pickens, Tucker Kraft, and Cam Scadabo.
This one's actually kind of simple for me.
I take Kraft over Warren. I take Cam Scadabo over Zach Charbonnet. And I feel like it's a coin flip for Metcalf Pickens. Close enough. Like, you might lean one way or the other. But that's why I go with the Pickens, Kraft, Scadabo. I think it's a 2 out of 3.
We came to the same conclusion, just slightly differently. Like, I looked at I'd rather have Pickens than Metcalf. Kraft and Warren are really close. I have Warren just slightly ahead, but then I'd rather have Scadabo than Charbonnet. So, again, I'm still taking the Pickens, Kraft, Scadabo side.
Also, Charbonnet did not practice today. He has a foot injury. That's something worth monitoring for those who have been flexing Charbonnet. So, and Scadabo, he's the running back one very quickly here in New York. The snaps, the touches, all of it was there ahead of Tracy in week 2. I think that's what we wanted to see. Like, Scadabo's usage is what we wanted to see from Travion Henderson, right? We wanted to see this takeover happen pretty quickly, and it just hasn't happened. Oh well. Give me the Kraft Scatterboo pick inside. Hey, we are answering your questions. Y'all not being patient enough. Chill out. Get out of here. There we go. Browning laser focuses on Jamar, did in 2023 as well. Yes. I mean, when you have the number one wide receiver in the NFL, you get him the ball and just let him do his thing. But the Bears, DJ Moore is currently the wide receiver 53 on the season. He's averaging 57 receiving yards a game, 4 catches a game. I mean, it's not all bad. It's not bad, but the target share is not good. 16.4% is not great. The air yard share at 22%, also not great. Like, there's just indications that Caleb Williams is intentionally getting the ball to Rome Odunze. Like, Rome Odunze is now the wide receiver 1. And I was pounding the table for DJ Moore because he's been historically the target getter. But if Caleb is locked on to Rome, like, there's not really much else to happen. Maybe DJ Moore plays his way off of the Bears mid-season, especially if the Bears continue to lose. Like, there's no incentive for them to keep a player like DJ Moore around who, we pull up the contract for DJ Moore, who is 28 and a half years old. He's signed through 2029. He has a cap hit of $24.5 million, but a base salary, like the base salary is not bad. Like, it's $23 million. Imagine like a team getting DJ Moore relatively cheap to what the market is, like a 28 and a half year old. What did Chris Godwin get?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that I'm still patient with DJ Moore, but it could be very panicky here. And like, I want another week of data for DJ Moore. I'm willing to be patient.
I'm slight panic. I was into DJ Moore before the season as well. He was my preferred pass catcher to draft from the Bears. I definitely thought there was a chance that Rome could overtake him this season, but I didn't think it would be to start the season. That's what it would be. And that's a problem for DJ Moore. We talked about this on the latest episode of Press Coverage. I had Jeremy Popolars from FTN, and we were talking about Rome Odunze and how good he was to start the season. And they're doing everything with Rome. Like, he's lining up across the field. He's running every kind of route in the book. They're just trying to get the ball in his hands. He's doing everything. He is the passing offense for the Bears. And while DJ Moore is still the number 2 receiver, and that can be fine, it's not fine in this offense right now.
No,
not with Caleb. Caleb isn't at the point where he can consistently bring along 2 pass catchers. Maybe it happens at some point, but right now I think DJ Moore is like a boom bust wide receiver 3 kind of type. So it's like a slight panic to that, in my opinion. Readjusting those expectations. Whereas like before on a player like Brian Thomas, I'd said like practicing patience, but just a little bit lower expectations. This is like, I'm lowering the expectations enough where it's a slight panic for me with DJ Moore.
Right. He's finished outside the top 45 of wide receivers each of the last 2 weeks, and 5 and 6 targets. Fine. Like, there hasn't been big explosion games. The offense has sputtered at times. Even with Ben Johnson there, we were hoping out of the gate, like guns ablazing, but it's not just been DJ Moore. It's also been Colson Loveland. It's also been Luther Burden. Like, the only usable piece of this Bears offense outside of, DeAndre Swift at times has been Rome Odunze. So, yeah, DJ Moore, unfortunately, stuck in low end flex territory moving forward.
Yeah.
All right. We'll stick in the rookie running back realm, Wyatt. Are we panicking about RJ Harvey?
I'm starting to lean that way. So the big problem with RJ Harvey, I think, coming into the season, if you wanted to have a problem with RJ Harvey, which I kind of did because I didn't think he was the best prospect, but the real thing was, what's Sean Payton going to do? Because he's a jerk, and he does jerk things with his depth chart and the way that people play snaps on his teams and whatnot. And that's exactly what's happening because for whatever reason, Tyler Bidet is their preferred third down back and hurry up back.
It's a rollaway bidet.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. Now, if we were doing this conversation after week 1, I would have been like, oh, patience for sure. Like RJ Harvey just had this 50-yard run where he looked fantastic. Like obviously that is going to afford him more opportunities in this offense. But that would have been a lie, apparently, because Sean Payton does not care about that. He's going to do what he's going to do. And for that reason, I start to lean a little bit towards panic because I think like it doesn't matter what I feel about RJ Harvey or how he looks on the field, apparently, because it has done nothing for him. It did nothing for him in week 2. Maybe it does at some point. And I would think that it would. Rational coaching would say at some point, the round 2 rookie who looks good when he gets the ball is going to eventually take over more of these opportunities. But what did he do to Marvin Mims, who was his first second-round pick as the head coach of the Denver Broncos?
There it is.
So, yeah, I'm starting to show a little bit of starting to have a little bit of panic for RJ Harvey just because Sean Payton is a jerk.
This is clearly the Marvin Mims corollary. Yeah. No. I think we can have a little bit of patience. Like RJ Harvey is not droppable at this point because no, you're just stashing. If anyone drops him in your redraft leagues, just scoop up RJ Harvey because week 1 of Alvin Kamara's rookie year, RB 37, he had 7 carries. Week 2, Alvin Kamara of his rookie year had 1 carry. Week 3, Alvin Kamara had 2 carries. Week 4, Alvin Kamara had 5 carries. And then he had between 8 and 12 carries pretty much every game and finished that season as the RB4. So, like, it's okay that a running back who has good draft capital, like, remember Alvin Kamara, 3rd-round pick, in the Sean Payton offense, like, gets off to a slow start, gets some touches, but the Marvin Mims corollary should scare us a little bit. That Marvin Mims is so talented. He's a multi-year Pro Bowl returner, but you're only giving him between 30 and 50% of wide receiver snaps, bruh. Like, you got to keep defenses honest. RJ Harvey, not droppable, but not startable. So I'm waiting.
Yeah,
I want to see the Alvin Kamara correlate come to life. We'll stick in New England. We're waiting for Trayvon Henderson. But are we going to panic or have some patience for Stefon Diggs? Right now, Diggs is the wide receiver 50. He's going to turn 32 during the year. He's averaging 6 targets a game. He's averaging about 44 receiving yards per game as well. The air yards really aren't there. The target share is a modest 17.6%. The target rate's 34th among wide receivers at 24.5%. He's not startable. He's not flex worthy. Like, we're not confident in New England's offense overall. Kayshon Boutte's had his spike moments. I have a feeling that Diggs is now just one of a few in this New England receiving core offense. You're going to have Hunter Henry days. You're going to have Stefon Diggs days. You're going to have a Kayshon Boutte day. Maybe Demario Douglas gets sprinkled in. Matt Collins is going to catch a random touchdown. I think that Diggs, because of the age cliff and coming off the injury, I think he's still going to be pretty flat. He's not going to be the target earner. And that started to reflect here. Like, he's still getting 17%, but it's not a needle moving amount. I don't think that changes very much, Wyatt. So I think we can press the panic button. It's okay. Diggs is not back, and I don't think he will be back.
If I'm answering this based on where I felt coming into the season, I'm not really panicking, but that's because I didn't expect all that much, if I'm being honest. I thought Stefon Diggs was much better for giving Drake May a reliable pass catcher than he was going to be a fantasy success in New England and someone we want to have in our lineups necessarily. It was hard to not get, like, if you're looking at projections, it was hard to not give Stefon Diggs like a good target share, just based on like the depth chart. But it's proven that was wrong to do, mostly because Kayshon Boutte is just an every down extra wide receiver for the Patriots, and him and May have a little bit of a connection. But if we're talking about just like, can you play Stefon Diggs? No, you should be panicking in that case. Like, you cannot put him in your lineup. It's just not going to happen. This offseason, he kind of miraculously didn't look like a almost 32-year-old coming off an ACL tear, and then he got on the field and he kind of looked like a almost 32-year-old coming off an ACL teir.
I wonder how that happens.
Yeah, so it's obvious he lost a step, and like, he's fine, as just a reliable type of pass catcher for Drake May. I think that's where he is. I think if you have to start him in a pinch, you could, but you're never excited to do it.
No, it's like 2 years ago, Tyler Lockett. There's just nothing exciting about putting him in your lineup, but Stefon Diggs, I mean, you're going to get some targets. You're going to get some yards. You're not going to get a 0, I don't think, from Stefon Diggs, at least at this point in the season. So, but panicking that he's not going to return major dividends as the breakout wide receiver 1 for the New England Patriots. But are we going to see a breakout for A.J. Brown? Wyatt, are we panicking? Should we be patient with A.J. Brown? What are we doing with A.J. Brown and the Philadelphia Eagles?
This one I am so struggling with, because like, it is A.J. Brown. Why would you ever panic about A.J. Brown? He's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And then you watch the Eagles play and you watch Jalen Hurts complete a 4-yard pass over and over again to Dallas Goedert or whoever, Grant Calcaterra. Even A.J. Brown's just getting, passes near the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Like, this past game, 5 for 37 was the stat line I believe that he had off the top of my head. And they're running like 50 plays a game because they're slow paced. They run this offense where, like, since they know they can get any 4th and 1, they just don't care if that's what they're playing towards. They don't need explosives because they know they can just get first downs whenever they feel like it. And so, like, while I don't want to panic because it's A.J. Brown and I know he's the best, there's part of me that's like, what am I doing here? Like, of course this is going to go poorly because look at this offense. It looks dreadful. It looks like caveman age offense where they just throw 2-yard passes and then, rugby push for another yard. So I'm like right on the edge. Like, I'm not sitting A.J. Brown on the teams where I've drafted him. I couldn't live with myself if I sat A.J. Brown and then he finally, had the game that we know that he's capable of.
Sure. But
like, I don't know. Am I thinking in my head, well, if he has that breakout game, am I looking to try and move off of him? That's what I'm starting to consider.
Oh, man. This offseason, I told people, sell A.J. Brown. Sell. This is a player that has had multiple knee injuries for a long time. He's been dealing with these things off and on. It's been disastrous. He's worked his way back. He's uber talented, but he's starting to get to the wrong side of the age cliff in an offense that doesn't need him, like, to win. And so you have a player who historically has been like a 25% target share guy, but the pie is just so small. And now with this shift in offense that we've seen over the first couple of weeks, I mean, dating back, let's look at not just A.J. Brown for this year. Like, fine. He's had 8 and 27 receiving yards this year. Let's look back at 2024, because A.J. Brown, 43 yards against Kansas City, 96 against Washington. That was good. Oh, but 14 against the Rams, 10 against Green Bay, 36 against Dallas, 97 against Washington. Oh, he had a good 110 against Pittsburgh, but then 43, 66. Like, we've seen what? 3 100-yard games after week 7 of last year. It's not good. The volume really limits his week-to-week upside. When he hits, he can have these big games. But the name value is still there, which is why, like, you're not benching A.J. Brown. You're trying to still trade him to someone who still thinks that A.J. Brown has the name value. This is one of those classic moves that you should be doing. He's not a bench. He's a trade. Because someone is still going to bite.
Yeah, I think that is the hope, honestly. Knee injuries, maybe. He is starting to get up there in age, but not like I'm not worrying about him yet because he's kind of like a physical freak as well. But yeah, the offense is just not conducive to it. And like he's kind of succeeded despite the offense for a bit here. But they have gotten so extreme about how conservative the offense is that now we've reached like we passed the tipping point to where now it's not enough. Like it's detrimental.
It's gross. It's gross. Get rid of A.J. Brown. That's what I was telling y'all. Got to trade him. But did you listen? I don't know. I don't know if y'all listened. Hopefully you did. Hopefully you did. And Travis Hunter, though, is our last player that we're looking at tonight. If you haven't, hit the like button or hit the subscribe button. Smash it for Player Profiler. Now plus Network, Wyatt and Bradley here Wednesday night, getting into Panic or Patience. We've talked Mark Andrews, TJ Hockenson, Brian Thomas, Amari and Hampton, DJ Moore, Trevion Henderson, Stefon Diggs, RJ Harvey, AJ Brown, and now Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, the second overall pick in this year's draft. 7 targets a game, 4.5 receptions. He's only at 55 receiving yards. I think we can have a little bit of patience still with Travis Hunter. He's at 20% target share, a 27.5% target rate. I think they're still figuring out how to use him, but it's clear that he's still uber talented. And it was like week 1, especially, there was a concerted effort to get Travis Hunter the ball. He had 8 targets. The red zone targets will come. The touchdowns will come. The big plays will come. I don't have worries in terms of that. So my only concern is, Trevor Lawrence. Is he going to be able to sustain the Brian Thomas bounce back? Is it going to be able to sustain Travis Hunter also? Like, can both of them exist? And that's what we talked about over the summer was one of these guys in the market, one of these guys, or which one is it going to be? Because Brian Thomas was the market who we were thinking is going to be the guy at that 1-2 turn. But Travis Hunter, 8 and 6 targets is nothing to scoff at through the first couple of weeks. He's playing 75 to and 100% of the snaps on offense. So we're here for all of that. And I don't care what he's doing on defense. I mean, the IDP league people will care, but for those who are not in IDP leagues, that's not something that I'm raising my eyebrow from. I don't think it's going to move the needle. I'm not starting Travis Hunter, but I'm not cutting him. I'm not cutting him right now. I'm being patient.
I think this is another one where it depends on where your starting point was for the player.
Sure.
I did not expect a fast start from Travis Hunter. I expected it to take a little bit slower. I was a little bit lower on Travis Hunter than ADP was coming into the season. So I don't have a lot of exposure to Hunter. While I think he is a bit of a unicorn and can, be stellar at both positions and possibly be a fantastic wide receiver, I wasn't sure that it was going to happen quickly and in year 1 to the point in which it would be helpful for us in fantasy. And I think that's what we're getting at this point. I mean, he's running less than 70% of the routes, which is not great. He is only out there if they're in a 3 wide receiver set, and then he plays. And he's not doing that much with it, just barely over 1 yards per route run right now. It is true, though, that they were obviously trying to draw up plays for him when he's out there to get him the ball. It's not working, though, currently. And that could be blamed in a lot of different ways. It could be Trevor Lawrence. It's the kind of like general dysfunction of the passing offense right now because it is kind of peaks and valleys, play to play. It's also that Brian Thomas is the wide receiver one, through and through. It just is what it is. That was part of the reason why I didn't want to draft in Travis Hunter year one too, is that a lot of people were baking in, well, what if he's better than Brian Thomas in year one? And that's still a possibility, but I thought it was a low possibility. And I think it's clear it's a low possibility at this point. So yeah, I mean, there's no point in cutting Travis Hunter. If you drafted Travis Hunter, you have to kind of see this through for a while.
Sure.
But no reason to try and put him in your lineup.
Yeah, you don't need to test that out. We need a couple weeks of Travis Hunter producing about flex worthy for us to have confidence putting him in the lineup. All right, Wyatt, we have a question in the chat for the quarterbacks. We have a quarterback streaming question. Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, or are we going with Drake May this week? The expert consensus rankings on Fantasy Pros has Dak at 4 right now, Drake May at 7, and Daniel Jones at 12. So clearly Prescott, then May, then Jones. Is that the order that you'd have it as well?
I'm actually in lockstep with Fantasy Pros expert consensus on this one. You can find both of us in there as well.
Although I messed over quarterback real bad.
Yeah, I did too. I was pretty bad at quarterback this past week. But that matchup for Dak against Chicago is real juicy. And I think that's what separates them for this week. Most weeks, I would tell you May out of this group. I've had May over Dak coming into the season. I had him over Dak last week.
Pittsburgh's defense is looking really bad too, though. New England versus Pittsburgh. That can turn into a sneaky shootout for May. I think that's pretty close.
I mean, it's a good problem to have. Dak and May are top 8 options for me, both. But Dak just against Chicago, who I think Chicago can also put up points on the Cowboys too, who might also have one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Like, based on what happened to the Giants, now obviously I do not expect that kind of a shootout again with the Bears, but that's in the range of outcomes now. We know that with the Cowboys for sure. So maybe they might be Cincinnati of 2024 this year.
Ooh, nice. I love it. And as long as Dak stays healthy, that's there. Big Bills guy follows up. Where would Nick's rank? The expert consensus has him at 14. So at 4th out of the 4 of those quarterbacks. Yeah, we're definitely going with Prescott here. May is close behind, and then I think it's
I have Nick's ahead of Daniel Jones, but they're close. But to put it in perspective, it's still just Prescott.
Yeah, it's Prescott, and then Daniel Jones and Bo Nix like distant behind those other two. That's how we do it. Cool beans. Wyatt, we did a good job. We have prepped the people for week 3. We told them panic or patience. We're crushing it for the people. Smash the like button. Smash the subscribe button. You can follow Wyatt on X at Wyatt B_FF. You can follow me, Bradley, at FF Stalder on X. All right. Till next time, everybody. Good luck in the fantasy football streets.